I also I want to thank the Twin City Tea Party and acknowledge you for coming out. As others have referred to, the fact that you are energized, that you would come out here after a busy work day in most cases on a hot afternoon and early evening, but come out and listen to your candidates who want to earn your vote and your support on November 2nd is a testimony to what's going on in this country and the fact that people are energized and they want to have an impact when we do get to the election cycle. So as Justin said, my name is Curt Hayes, and I am Republican candidate for state representative of the 37th Middlesex District. And for those who are not in the area, that comprises the towns, a portion of Acton, Foxborough, the town that I'm from, Harvard, a piece of Lancaster, Shirley, and Lunenburg. So kind of a stretched out district, very diverse in its makeup along Route 2. And I would expect that a lot of people want to first learn, why are you running? Why would you run for public office? And for those that I met and gave you my information card, what I had to do is look at the picture on the back. And if you don't have one of those, I'll be sticking around throughout the meeting and give you those. It's my children. I have 3 children, and I have 2 sons, Kyle and Justin, who are going into the 9th grade and the 7th grade, and then my daughter Lindsay, who's going into the 10th grade. And the reason that I am running is that I am very concerned about our future. I'm very concerned with the way that we are on a path that is not sustainable in our country and here in the Commonwealth, that if they so choose after they get out of school, when they're older, that they can stay here and build a life for themselves and stay where my wife and I are going to planted ourselves. And I think many of you have the same concern, whether it is your grandchildren or your own children or yourselves. We're in a situation where we have a lot of issues we need to face up to, and we need to face those challenges if we're going to provide an environment where Massachusetts once again can thrive. So we are at a very clear crossroads this year. It started with an election back in January with the issues. Many of you are out here because you see that we're at those same crossroads, and you're worried about the direction of the country and this Commonwealth, and you want to do something about it. And I also think not just in the state government, but in our own lives, if many of us look at that, we have a lot of crossroads that we face. Either we are put there in a situation, or we put ourselves in that situation where we have to choose a path that's going to impact the rest of our lives. Now, when I look at my own situation and the crossroads I faced that led me to the path to be standing here tonight asking for your support and your votes if you're in my district, goes back to when I was 10 years old, living with my parents and my 2 older brothers, and my mom, who's about 5 feet tall. She's a registered nurse, very spirited. Well, she made a decision that impacted our lives, and that was having the personal freedom, if you will, but also the individual responsibility that she was going to file for divorce. And it's a situation that too many of us have faced, but my mom kind of instilled in me. She made that decision. It was her choice, but also she had the responsibility to, with 3 young boys, decide that she was going to move forward. So she got back into the work world after 15 years of being a mother, stay-at-home mom, as a nurse. And I remember watching her struggling. She didn't know what was going to happen, but again, she took that personal responsibility and decided we were going to move forward. It wasn't always easy. I can remember when she first got a job in a doctor's office, going to that doctor's office on the weekends with my brothers and I, and helping clean that office, scrubbing the exam rooms, taking out the trash. And it wasn't always easy, but that was a crossroad that really showed me at the foot of my mom, what it's about when we talk about personal responsibility and taking care of issues that come up before you. Now, another crossroad I faced that I was of my own doing was shortly after I got out of college, and I started my career with IBM, where I've been for 20 years. As a 23-year-old rookie on the team for less than 6 months, my bosses told us that, hey, look, we're going to start a joint venture with a company up in Boston. I was in Dallas, Texas at the time. And I advocated for myself. I said, I want to be the guy to go up there. I want to be the liaison between this company and between IBM. And they saw something in me that let them decide that I would go represent them. So I came up here to Boston and lived for 7 months. And that's where, little did I know, that crossroad was going to lead me to the path of meeting my future wife. My wife Debbie is a native of Bedford, lived there all her life. I met her at that company. So, long story short is we were the best thing that came out of that joint venture. And kind of ironically,
started a new joint venture.
It was that I kind of dragged her down to Texas after this assignment, and kind of, you know, the idea that those mothers like to come home, I knew we were eventually coming back to Boston. So we've been up here since 1995. You know, we've raised our family here, we're going to stay here. But again, I have very strong concerns that this crossroads we face, in addition to the personal things that we think about and that lead us, we do have power. A lot of us have felt when we're at these crossroads in past elections, what can we do? Is it going to make a difference? And I think you have all seen, by the fact that you're out here and engaged in what started to happen after the elections of 2008, that you want, I think, what I want, which is shared values of I do want limited government. I want smaller government. I want that individual freedom, but also the personal responsibility that goes with it. So there is a key decision that you can make in November when we look at these crossroads of what direction do we go in the future. Do you want to vote for more balance up in your state government? And I'm not just talking about balance in one-party rule. We all know ad nauseum the problems of one-party rule, whether it is Republican or Democrat. It's not about that. You see it every day in the Boston Globe, the things that can happen with the backroom deals that have even been alluded to here, the corruption, the scandals, some of these things which are still working their way through the courts. It's also the balance in the background of the people that you send up to Beacon Hill to represent you. My experience is in the business world. I know what it's like, as do you, to work and bring home a paycheck and try to provide for your family. And in my experience in the real world, we work with budgets, we work with complex problems, and what I've done for 20 years is help our customers look at their own businesses and decide often, because of economic times, how do we do more with less? How do we continue to serve our customers, but not just cut, reform. The key is we have to reform. So I want to go up there, take that balanced approach, look at how we reform our state government so that we can live within our means, within your means as taxpayers. And that starts with business opportunities. We got to be a more friendly business environment. We also need to make it a more friendly environment for people to stay here and work and provide for their families. So we have to do the reforms. That means we got to go in there, the new crop of leaders. Again, it's going to be your decision. Do you keep voting in the same folks to continue to work on this, or do you get in a new crop of reformers? We're going to go pull the dome off the State House, put every program, every line item, every agency out on the lawn, out on the steps, look at it top to bottom. How can we do it better? What can we consolidate? What things do need to go? What things need to be done in a more efficient way? And then put it back together. That's going to be a lot of difficult decisions. But I think if you guys vote us into office, those that are talking about being reformers, and you give us your trust, we'll go represent you well.